Hey everybody, I'm back filming another video. It's going to be a little different from something I've done in the past. Basically, this week I've got a few things going on, including 2 tattoos and a concert that I'm going to, and I just figured I would film some of it to make some kind of content. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually kind of missing making YouTube videos. I was kind of really burnt out there for a while, and no matter how hard I tried to force myself to get back into it, I couldn't. So now I'm actually feeling like doing some stuff, so I'm just trying to kind of force myself to get back into the habit of filming stuff. Don't expect to see any like in-depth figure reviews anytime soon or anything like that, but I just still want to try to produce some content on here and kind of get back into the swing of doing things. So yeah, I'm going to take you guys with me over the course of this next week and go from there. All right, so this is the first one of 2 I'm getting this week. This was done by Rob Slasher. He's working on a devoted tattoo right now. The second tattoo I got a haunted mask from him back in July, but really wanted to do a Michael Myers mask, and this seemed like a good one. We are probably going to go back and do a different Myers mask a little later, but wanted to get the H2 to start with. I prefer the look of it over the H1, to be quite honest, and just seemed like the right choice to go with. This guy is kind of on the side of my arm here. It's kind of across from my Creature from the Black Lagoon tattoo, and I apologize, this is a very awkward way to film this, but best way I could think to get a good black background behind it, since it is kind of on a weird spot on my arm. This is very, very fresh, so it is still a little angry, but I am super thrilled with how this came out. This is just awesome. I'm very happy about this. Alright, I'm not sure how much update progress I'm going to put on this thing, but just wanted to basically show day 2. I took the initial thing I had on it overnight off, and he's still got a little bit of a residue sitting there in his halo, so I gotta clean it a little bit better. But yeah, so basically what I'm gonna do from here is the method I've been using to heal stuff lately has been using a Tegaderm. So it's basically like a synthetic skin kind of thing you put over. I guess it's supposed to be for like open wounds or whatever, but technically a tattoo is that. So that's how I'm gonna heal this guy. I'm just gonna go give it a good clean and dry it off and put that on there. And it's like super easy because you can kind of like put it on and leave it for about, I think, 6 days or so. And I guess the idea is that it tricks your body into healing it more like a bruise than an open wound, I think is what I remember reading about it. I might just be pulling this out of my ass, but basically it kind of like reduces the amount of like scabbing and stuff on it, and it lets it heal faster and easier. It's worked for me. Did it on my Creature from the Black Lagoon here. Did it on my Freddy glove, did it on my haunted mask, so I'm just going to keep going with that because it seems to have been working for me. And since I'm just kind of doing like vlog kind of crap anyway, I don't think I've ever tried to film in this hallway. This is, I've had this set up for a while. I've got it's like a canvas print of the Godzilla vs. Gigan poster. It's signed by Ken Satsuma, who was in the Gigan costume. Hoped to have gotten Haruo Nakajima to sign Godzilla, but he passed away before I had another chance to get him to sign it. So I do have a signature from him on something else, but I really want to add him in here. And then the other suit actors, I don't know if I'll ever have a chance to. Got King Kong Escapes back here. Found this at a local flea market. It was a goofy ass movie, but it's a cool poster. I mean, seriously, the Kong and Gorosaurus, I just thought it was neat, and it's kind of a little unusual. And then back here, that way, we've got the Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 poster. Honestly, I love all the Heisei era posters. I know these both are bootleg. This might be bootleg as well. I don't think any of it's really like Toho official, but whatever. It's cool. It's exciting. I love all the Heisei era ones. This is the one they had. I have been noticing lately, NECA put out the new re-release Godzilla figures with the box art, and I don't know if they've done this one yet. I don't remember. Oh, they haven't done this one because they just did Space Godzilla one. That's what they did. But they did the Destroya poster, and I realized that is an amazing poster and kind of cool to replace this one with that at some point. Though I do kind of like the blues and the cool tones with the like the reds and the warmer stuff here. So it may just be the right balance right now, unless I find something else that's a cooler tone photo or poster to just keep that balance going. But that really wasn't why I turned the camera on. The thing I was going to talk about was as my corgi walks by, clicking away. I was, just chilling for a little bit, and I ended up putting on David Cronenberg's Rabid, the first time I've ever watched that. I've been interested because the Soska sisters have remade it. I think it's out already, if I remember right, but I've heard good things about the remake, but of course I wanted to go back and see the original, and I've seen a little bit of Cronenberg stuff. I've seen more than I thought I had, but like I really haven't seen a whole lot of his work. I've seen like the big ones, like The Fly and Scanners and Videodrome. I've seen that as well. But this one was definitely interesting. I mean, it came out in like I think 77, and it definitely seems like it's paying a lot of homage to Night of the Living Dead, which was like a decade earlier. There's definitely some scenes I could feel he's trying to evoke what Romero was doing in his original zombie movie. But yeah, it had some interesting things. There are some parts, I don't want to go into spoilers, but there's some things in it that I was wondering, like, is it this because it's the 70s and you can't show much more versus like, you know, maybe today it would go a little further or be a little more explicit? I'm not really sure. I'm curious to see what the remake will do with it or how closely it will follow the original film. And also the other thing I was reading on IMDb trivia that they were going to get Sissy Spacek to play the lead, and they ended up with Marilyn Chambers, who's a porn star, playing the lead. And it's interesting because there's a lot of, I'm just assuming if the script was what it was, they didn't change anything between the script, you know, depending on whoever they cast in their lead. There's some scenes that would have been way creepier, probably for the wrong reasons, if it was Carrie instead of this adult film actress. So,
hey, this is Editing Phil here, and just to clarify before anybody comments on it, it's still creepy either way, the way people are treating her. It would just be a lot creepier because Sissy Spacek looks like a much younger person than the actress who was actually in Rabid. So, creepy either way, but creepier if it looks like a child.
Yeah. I one of those casting decisions, I'd almost like to see what that alternate version looks like, just in some bizarro world, but I think what they had worked really well, and if you haven't checked that out, it's on Amazon Prime right now, so easy enough to watch if you have Prime, and I think it was well worth checking out. Alright, so cleaning this thing off, wrapped it in Tegaderm, so it's going to basically sit like that for about 6 days, I think, is what I'm going to leave it. It's usually I think about what works for me and what's done well in the past, but should make it relatively safe. I think the idea is that it's supposed to let like air through, but it doesn't really let like bigger molecules through, so it's sealed but not completely cut off from oxygen and healing and all that stuff.
I'm sitting in the parking lot before a show. My eyes look terrible. So sitting in the parking lot before going into a show, I'm seeing British Lion tonight, which is a band I really don't give a crap about, except that it's Steve Harris from Iron Maiden playing in a band, and they're playing a very, very small venue called Jackrabbits here in Jacksonville, and like I've seen some pretty tiny ass shows in there. It's not a big venue at all, so my thought process was, I mean, at least I get to see the bass player from Iron Maiden on stage, probably pretty close up, and that could be pretty cool. So we'll see. I really haven't listened to much of their music. I listened to like a couple clips from a live show on YouTube, and it was fine. So, whatever. Going in with low expectations, but I figure it's worth a shot. was a pretty cool show. I ended up being like right front and center. The first band was the Picture Books, not a band I'd ever heard of. Probably not one I'd listen to like on CD or whatever, or MP3, or you know what I mean. But live, they were very cool. They were it was like, I don't know, it was like indie rock, but like super primitive. Like the guy said he doesn't know how to play chords, so he's just kind of like making whatever noises he could on the guitar, and the drummer had like 5-piece drum kit with like one bass, with the bass pedal, but one just flipped up, and he was just like smacking it with sticks and just making a massive racket. I'll include some footage in here, but it's hard to describe, but it was really, really cool to see. And I was dreading that he would lose a grip on that drumstick because it was going to go right at my head, and he was hitting those things hard. And then British Lion, yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with their music, but I got to be right up front for a Steve Harris show. Unfortunately, I was kind of in the splash zone for a Steve Harris show. It was kind of gross. Speaking of gross, I did get a wristband, a used wristband, so it is pretty nasty. I gotta figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with that. I want to put it in like a shadow box, but like probably gotta disinfect that fucking thing first. It is nasty. Thank God I keep hand sanitizer in my car. But yeah, that was cool. I got a photo with him afterwards. I made the mistake of using flash and like selfie cam, and it is a terrible photo, mostly because I'm like looking at the screen like, what the fuck is going on here? And then it captured my what the fuck face. But yeah, it was still really cool. I'll probably never get that close to the stage for a Maiden show, and I figured it's not an opportunity I'm going to have too many times, so I think it was well worth it. But after all that British Lion, I think what I need is some straight up Iron Maiden. Just removed the tegaderm here, and you can see it looks kind of scary if you don't really know what to expect. It looks really dry and kind of not so good, but I'm going to go ahead and clean this thing off, and you'll see it looks a lot better. And there it is, all cleaned up. I don't know if you can tell a difference, but I sure can. That's just a couple minutes later. Did I wash it with hot water with some antibacterial soap, and then put a very thin layer of lotion over top of it, which I'm now seeing in the light of this camera that I did not get very thoroughly covered on there, but I'll fix that in a second. But yeah, it looks like it should, basically. And I was wrong about the time on the tegaderm. It really was more like 4 days instead of 6. All right, about to head on into Inksmith and Rogers here. Jeff Cozen, who's done a lot of tattoos for me. We had him to do another kaiju piece for me, and he's basically up here doing a guest spot this week. He's been touring all over Florida doing random guest spots, or not random, but like at different places across the state. So he's up in Jackson. I am thrilled that I can get something from him here for the second time in a row. He's at a tattoo convention a couple years ago. I got something from him, and now this. Yeah, that'll be good. I don't have to go drive down to Fort Lauderdale just yet, though eventually I do want to actually go to his shop, because I haven't been in his newer shop. But yep, I'm gonna head in there. And just as an update, it's been it's Friday now, so 6 days almost exactly since I got Myers here, and he's definitely entered the gross peeling stage. So I'll have a gross peeling one and a fresh one here in just a couple hours. Alright, so I am back from tattoo number 2 for this week. Those 4 fingers, 2. Alright, this is really hard for me to film, but so this is basically our take on, Jeff's take, but I agree too, of Gamera. All his other ones on me are just like Japanese traditional tattoo inspired kaiju from different tokusatsu films. And yeah, this is one I've been wanting for a while, and I think you knocked it out of the park. Yeah, this one hurt. So ironically, with this tattoo here, I was originally wanting it more up here, and then we were kind of just talking about placement and fit and all that stuff, and we opted to go with this, and then with plans to build up a little further above it. With this one, I also did not get it where I intended to get it. I was going to get it originally kind of on the inside-ish of my knee. Jeff has done now 4 out of the 5 tattoos on my leg, and he did a knee piece for me years ago, and also one kind of on my upper leg. So it's kind of trying to like put it off to the side between the 2 of those, and I hadn't really provided him great reference for where everything was when I was booking the tattoo. So the drawing he had, it could have fitted there if you were going to shrink it down or cut off some of the like
detail and put it behind other pieces or something, but we decided that the back of my leg, the upper back of my leg, was the better place to put it because it just fit fine there. It wasn't a big deal to get it into that space. So yeah, so that's what we ended up doing. It's basically right above the knee ditch, and there were a couple spots where he went down just right next to that knee ditch that hurt like hell. It was not fun for a few of those spots. The upper spots were fine. There was a couple spots where it was kind of going around the side that were really just painful, but kind of the main area that was more or less okay. It was just those couple little edge bits that just really got me. But we did it in about 2.5 hours. Jeff was basically ready when I walked in the door. And then, yeah, it was literally like, we took a 5-minute break somewhere in between, but it was almost exactly like 2.5 hours to start to finish on this thing.